Hey everyone, John here from 4 Brewers, and I'm back with another 4 Brewers Quickie. And this is the first fresh IPA beer I will be reviewing on this particular show. Reason is because the brewery out of Placentia, California, and Offshoot Beer Company just released their first canned IPA. So it's a pretty special day, I think. The brewery's pretty late to this show as far as getting on the Hazy Ipa bandwagon and whatnot, but they finally got on the bandwagon and the beers are here. I just picked these up about an hour ago. They went up for sale at 11 a.m. This morning. I was able to get some, and now I'm going to review it right now. The first one is an IPA called Fashionably Late. This IPA is made with Citra, Eldorado, and Mandarina Bavaria hops, and fermented with Cephal US04 yeast, which is like an English strain of dry yeast, which I found interesting that they use dry yeast in this. Usually you use liquid yeast in beers. I guess you can use dry yeast too. Why not? A lot of professional breweries use it, but it struck me as being odd. So let's open up this beer and see what it is like. Okay, well there it is, the brewery's first hazy IPA. It's pretty hazy. It's not like a really densely hazy beer. It's still very pretty. It's like kind of a lighter orange juice color. Looks really good. I can already smell it coming out of the glass, which is a really good sign. It should also be known the brewery is really known also for their Humilis Lager, which is a lager they made that was pretty much their IPA. It was really hoppy, really delicious. It's one of my favorite beers. I'm not even sure if they still brew it, but it's an excellent beer, and it was the closest thing they got to an IPA. So them making an IPA with actual ale yeast now, you know, they've already kind of done it, but now it's official. So let's see what it smells like. Yeah, it's got that typical New Englandish nose where it comes off really tropical, a sharp fruitiness to it. It smells soft. And I say that quite a bit when I'm referring to beers like this, but it's got this nice fruity tropical thing while still smelling a little bit malty and not so bitter, because like really big IPAs can also smell bitter or have this harshness to them, and this doesn't have that. It's like a soft, pleasant tropical aroma scent to it. It smells really good. Yeah, I get that candy note from it too. Not so much as like the ice cream frosting thing, but this candied tropical fruit thing. And it just smells really good. I'm really impressed so far. It's got a nice tight head on it, nice soft bubbles that are densely packed. It's looking and smelling really good. So without further ado, let's try Fashionably Late. Cheers to the brewery and Offshoot Brewing Company, or Offshoot Beer Company. All right, that's really good. This is a little more, I think, on the bitter side, I'd say. It's really soft on the palate. It goes over very well. It's nice and fluffy. The tropicalness and fruitiness of the hops, I think, don't come out as much as they do in the aroma. But it's nice and mellow and really subtle, but you do get this strip of bitterness like in the middle of your tongue, which I'm not against. Like I'm for these kind of beers being a little on the bitter side, not super West Coast bitter, but I like the hybrids like Monkish Brewing Company does with their New England style IPA, where it's mostly New England style with a little bit of West Coast style on it. And this is what this is coming off like. Overall, it's really drinkable. It's light. Like fluffy is the one word that comes to mind, because it's got this really nice, soft mouthfeel. And I think that's because of, you know, partly due to the oats that are used in the beer, but also due to the low sulfates in the beer and higher calcium chloride content, which I would assume they did to their water. I don't know what they did, but that's what most of these breweries do. They up the chloride and lower the sulfates to kind of bring back that bitterness. So that results in a really soft beer on the palate. So overall, it's really good. Not the best New England IPA I've had, but it's certainly up there for a local offering. It's fantastic. So let's finish this up and move on to the next beer. So up next from Offshoot Beer Company is Better Late Than Never. This is their double IPA made with Mosaic, Vic Secret, and Citra hops, as well as Golden Promise and wheat malt. And that's interesting because it looks like it's mostly Golden Promise, which is awesome. I tend to use Golden Promise a lot in my pale ales. It's a little bit on the sweeter side for a pale malt, and it adds a little more body to it. It's just an interesting malt. And this was also made with, I got some notes right here, the BSI Barbarian yeast, which from what I read throws off a lot of tropical fruity notes, and I think is related to the Conan strain that The Alchemist uses. I'm not positive, but I think that's what it is. I just did some quick reading online before I did this. Anyway, let's open this up and see what it's like. Okay, so this comes off a little bit darker than the Fashionably Late IPA, and this is a double IPA. I'm not sure if I mentioned that. It's 8.5% alcohol. Again, it's got that nice, tightly bubbled head, looking really good. Probably the same amount of opacity there. It's, you know, it's hazy, but it's not like that, you know, gravy looking kind of haze. It looks really nice. It's a nice, more of an orange juice color, like a hazier orange juice, but still kind of on the darker side. So let's see what it smells like. So for me, this comes off, I'd say, more fruity and hoppy than tropical and fruity. The Fashionably Late definitely had a bigger nose. It jumped out of the glass. It smelled really good and fruity and tropically and refreshing. Tropically, not tropically. This tends to smell more like an IPA, I think, which isn't a bad thing. I'm okay with that. But it's a really kind of, I don't know, mellow IPA kind of smell, meaning it's not that big. I'm not getting it nearly as much as I did the Fashionably Late. Let me go in for another smell. Yeah, it smells a little bit dankier, a little greener, as Joe would say from Joe's Arcade. It's just got that more classic IPA smell without it being over the top. It's a really mellow kind of IPA smell. It smells good. You do get some of the malt characteristics coming through. It's got that kind of crackery, cakey thing happening, but not nearly as much as the Fashionably Late. So far, the Fashionably Late is blowing this beer out of the water as far as the aroma goes. But this still smells pretty decent. Let's see what it tastes like. So yeah, this definitely has that same soft mouthfeel. Kind of get that cake batter kind of candy thing happening. It's a little hot, more on the bitter side, but overall really, really well done. It's an excellent beer. I like both these beers. I think they both have their strong points. Fashionably Late, in my opinion, was a great beer. This beer is pretty good too, especially for an 8.5% double IPA. I see what they were going for with these, and I think, I'm not gonna say they nailed it with what they were going for, but they're in the zone. And more of these are gonna come. I'm assuming they're gonna brew, you know, different recipes and stuff like that. So I'm really looking forward to see what Offshoot Beer Company and the Bruery do with these beers, because so far they're off to a really good start. So yeah, this was really fun. I'm glad the Bruery and Offshoot Beer Company are here making IPA now. It's been something I've wanted them to do for a long time. I'm happy to have had these beers, and I can't say that's one less beer in my cellar. So thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe. See you later.